Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining this breakout session. I think you're going to be really glad you did. We've got an awesome turnout. I apologize for my appearance. Some of you heard in the beginning of this me saying that Mark Anthony made me cry like a baby, and it's true. So Anthony, please don't make me cry. I can't handle it anymore today. We are joined by Anthony Young, and we're thrilled for that to be happening. Anthony has been joining the KAES meetings that we've been having with administrators and partners throughout the spring and summer and during this transitional time, and sharing his strategies for distance learning and NTI and how they're navigating that. And everyone has really appreciated his resources, and so we wanted to share them with the group at large. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Anthony Young for Warren County Day Treatment.
Thank you, Ms. Katie. Again, my name is Anthony Young. I'm the Program Director for Warren County Day Treatment in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I have been with Day Treatment since 2001. And a little bit about myself as we get ready to get into the presentation. From a small town of Elkton, Kentucky, Todd County, with a lot of farmland, a lot of farmers, close to the Tennessee border. I came to Bowling Green to attend Western Kentucky University, and while at Western Kentucky University, I joined an organization called Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. It was there that I really found my joy of serving, and especially serving youth. So we would, as a fraternity, would volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club twice a week. Got to really enjoy helping students who were at risk from low-income homes, struggling with different difficulties, which led to a degree in psychology and criminology with a juvenile justice emphasis. I then went on to be employed by Life Skills, kind of one of our larger mental health agencies in Rivendell Psychiatric Hospital. From there, I got more involved with at-risk youth, and then I was led to a position at Warren County Day Treatment and have been here ever since. When I first start off, I'm going to first be honest that I am not an expert in this whatsoever, but as the speaker really reminded us and reminded me of giving the students every opportunity, every chance to be successful, and sowing those seeds. Sowing those seeds are important because we never know how we're affecting the students that we serve. Just yesterday, one of my former students who had served 4 years in the pen, knows where I live. He always speaks when he drives by. Came by to borrow my riding lawnmower because he lives a few houses down the street so he can mow his yard. And we don't know how those little things that we did in the past, he was a student probably 10 years ago, but how he remembers some things and how he's gotten his life back on track. So as we get started, we will, the title is Moving Forward from Non-Traditional Instruction to Distant Learning. So distance learning is a phrase in our district that we're using as we move forward in this digital technology timeframe. When we think of the non-traditional instruction, in my mind, we're thinking of sending a few packets home, letting them do just the minimum, just enough, working just enough to say that we have satisfied our job category, to a true distant learning where we are absolutely interacting, engaging our students, meeting with them in classrooms, helping them with instruction, giving them remediation, giving them interventions while from a distance. So that's the part A. But then the part B of the title is using collaboration to transfer ownership to all. All of our programs are very small. We have very small staff numbers, but we have to use collaboration in order to be most effective in what we do. Oftentimes in our district, some of the classified staff they were wondering what they would be doing, this or that. Do we have work for them? But there's always work to be done for our student population. So when we talk about being successful with our students, first, our district has 3 guiding principles: safety, achievement, and opportunity. So looking at that framework, the first thing that I was looking at is how during this time are we helping to keep our students safe? What are we doing with their social and emotional learning? What are we doing with the trauma that they're experiencing at home, being at home more than they've ever been? How are we assisting the parents through this process? So one of the first things that we look at here is the students complete typically once a week or so a student survey during group time. This is just a little check-in to see how their mood is, to see how things are going at home, to see what's going on. So during this NTI time, we increased that to multiple times a week, having them complete the student survey, seeing how they are, seeing if they need anything. So I will show you an example of that student survey. It's just a Google form that we created previously in years past. So you have the student name, you have the date and time, who their counselor is, a rating scale of how they feel, their mood. We put a little emojis on there to make it look a little better. How their anger is, how they're dealing with their anger, how the home life is, how they slept last night, where did they sleep at last night, and what time did they go to bed. They also answer if they're getting along with their parents, if they're getting along with the people they live with. We have a lot of students who are in foster care or group home settings. Do they have adequate food to eat at home? What are their basic needs? Are their basic needs being met? How is school going? How they get along with their peers? What they like to work on as far as their behavior, what they like to discuss with their counselor. What are some realistic, measurable, attainable goals for the week? And what goals would the team like to do for the week? So we use this as a tool that will spark our responses from our mental health counselors, whether we need to contact Frisky coordinators to make sure that food is sent to their home, whether we need to make a phone call and help them through a crisis situation. It just helps us guide the student-led information. The next thing is utilizing SEL groups with mental health counselors through Google Hangouts and Google Classroom. Originally, we know that we are required 2 groups per week through our DJJ regs, but we were seeing a need to increase their face-to-face through Google with the staff. So that went from twice a week to every day. So we meet with the students every day from 1 to 2. We work on different emotions. We work on career development. We work on social awareness issues during those times. 3, we have a wonderful office manager. She came from detention center in our previous employment, and it was for quite some time just me and her coming into the building to answer phone calls and do those things. So she was wanting to help me out and wanting to know what she could do to help the students to be more effective with the team. So she created a Google Voice, and she would text the parents every day, text the parents to make sure that they were doing classwork, text the parents to make sure that they were in group on time, all those kind of things. So that's a way of utilizing some of your support staff to assist. 4, we were utilizing Screencastify and created a parent survey and emailed the parents with updates about their academics, about anything that is going on with the students. So in Screencastify, our technology department taught us how to create videos. So I'm going to show you a quick video that I made for the parents, welcoming them into the NTI platform. With that, we use bit.ly.com, which will also track to make sure that the parents actually view the video or who didn't view the video.
I don't think we're getting sound on there, Anthony. I think you're muted. Which is exactly what I did in the whole group session.
All right, so that was just a short example of that, and then I did go through all the expectations of what was expected during the NTI time frame. And the parent survey that I was talking about was connected with all the schools in Warren County completing a parent survey just to gauge how the parents were feeling about the NTI transition. And I was very pleased that the majority of my parents were very satisfied with the amount of communication, with what we were doing. And even though a lot of them mentioned that they didn't really understand all the technology that the students were supposed to be using. So this is the NTI parent feedback. As for the email, the average hours spent on instruction. I can't go to the rest of it without filling it out. But it's just gauging the parent engagement, the student engagement, and if the students were really struggling, if the parent really needed more assistance, or if they were doing well with the program. All right, and also we utilize the Google Hangouts and Google Calendar for setting up Google Hangouts, which are our class time sessions, as well as the individual sessions where the mental health counselor would speak with the student via Google on the weekly basis. This is an example of that. So it shows me who has counseling sessions today, who their summer session schedule, their group schedule is in there. And we also would utilize Google Hangout for our weekly and daily staff meetings. I felt it was important, and the leadership for the district felt it was important that we meet with the staff on a very regular basis during this NTI transition time. So what I decided with our staff is that we would do a daily check-in at the end of the day. It was generally at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We will have a staff meeting. We will go over any student issues, any parent issues, so we could get those things taken care of as quickly as possible and not waiting long periods of time. As it has continued and we moved into our extended days during the summer, we have now moved to weekly staff meetings, which are every Friday morning to go over the students for the week. The district has also continuously met with the leadership and administrators throughout this time. We meet, someone's unmuted. We would meet 2 to 3 times a week with the superintendent and other administrators. And now it's moved to once or twice a week at this time. But we're still having regular communication, regular collaboration, and then sometimes we break off into subgroups as well during that time. So we can end up having several leadership meetings throughout one week. This is an example of pictures that I took of students in group. So we had to establish group rules, just like we would in the classroom, such as having coming to school and group with a shirt on, not having distractions, breaking confidentiality of people in your background or in the room while you're in group or session, staying visible so that we know that you're engaged. As we transition, does anyone have any questions about the safety component during distant learning?
Anthony, I think a few people asked if you would be able to share the link to that NTI video since they couldn't hear the audio. I don't know if that's possible, but.
I will attempt to get with Katie and send the PowerPoint out with the links. So at the end of this, I do plan to send that out. And also, if you have any questions at the end, my email address is there. And I have some examples on some training videos for doing Screencastify and Google Classroom and some of those things. Katie, were there any other questions?
I'm looking in chat. Don't see any so far.
All right, thank you. All right, so next we wanted to look at achievement during distance learning. Looking at our level of students in our day treatment and our facility programs, it was important to the superintendent as well as to me that we wanted students to achieve during this time frame. And for us, it sometimes would look different. We started off under NTI having each teacher meet once a day, every other day. So just one time a week, and then groups twice a week. But what we found is that wasn't enough for our students. So we went to a more intensive schedule of having intervention during extended days. For the first hour, we work on reading intervention. For the second hour, we work on with the teacher teaching her class for science and social studies. For the third hour, we work on another teacher teaching her class, doing English and science. And then the fourth hour, we have our group and social emotional learning time. And these are all done during the Google Hangout face-to-face versus previously doing just Apex on the computer and resetting through emails, not having a lot of face-to-face time with the students. So we found that it was very important to increase that time to increase their student achievement. So looking at the Google Classroom, this is an example of some of our classes. So we have 11 students in the summer 2 math, second summer session math, 12 students in the second summer session history. We have social awareness class. We have life skills relationship class. And then we also have the day treatment journal. The English teacher is teaching, and she is moving from Google Classroom to the instruction that she keeps with her. There's a lot of benefit for Google Classroom. You can input grades there. It will give you a layout of the grades. You can post activities. You can post videos that you want them to watch. You can put your standards in the section as well. You can put the question of the day. You can put all those things within the classroom. Now, we were fortunate because our students have always been, for a few years now, one-to-one with technology. So they, the majority of them did take our Chromebooks home. They are signed releases for the parents, signing for responsibility of the Chromebooks. But with that, we can also monitor what they're doing while they're using our Chromebooks. So we can monitor any class, any tab that they have open, anything that they're doing. So what we looked at for our small group and large group instruction through the Google Hangout system, we looked at the core content instruction, and we looked at remediation about where were they struggling with. So we took the Apex curriculum for core content instruction, and we saw where the kids were getting stuck at. What units were they getting stuck at? What things were they missing the foundation? And we also, during the school year, used our STAR data as well to put them in the intervention places that they most needed. So we would take them down a step or so in IXL instruction, connect it with the core content to give them that foundation to build up to where they were having issues at. Our great teacher also is, she's been looking for various different technology programs that she could utilize. She found one to be very efficient, which was Vocabulary. It was putting raps to and songs to math principles. So if those of y'all who are not familiar with Vocabulary, and she borrowed the license from another school, and I'm in the process of giving our school our own license. All right, so we use it primarily for math, but she will pull different things that the students were struggling with and do them in small group and large group instruction. She will get them started with helping them answer the questions, and then they will do individual work on their own as well. So this is just different math principles that's covered in vocabulary. But vocabulary also has other core content lessons as well, but we have primarily been using it for math. Next is Brain Pop. Brain Pop can be used for different social studies standards. It has kind of little fun quizzes that they will do together and watch videos as well. It kind of covers a lot of the units in social studies and gives them that foundation that they need that many of our students don't have. So she'll build on that foundation, getting them, and right now we've been focused on passing the citizenship test, the civics test. So we have been doing a lot of those, that information through this program. Quizlets is another one that our district uses heavily. It has built-in flip charts for different tests that you may want to build. One of the beauties to Quizlet is that there's a lot of information that has already been built by other teachers and other people across the United States. So oftentimes we don't have to recreate in this program. We can just find one that will help the students study over whatever standard they're working on that's already been made. And one of our fun things that the students like is Kahoot. A lot of our students like to participate in challenges against one another. So this is a way to play fun games, but still in a learning environment. Well, if I can log in. We also use this in our group as well. So my Kahoots are geared toward teachings in group, while the other teachers are geared toward their content area. So one of them that teaches them the rules of the program is one called Warren County Day Treatment Expectations. We were having problems and issues with the bus, so we created one over bus expectations. We do the 7 habits, highly effective teens on here, career clusters, health and safety, social and emotional learning are some of the ones that I utilize. Some of them I created, some of them I duplicated from others. As I said, we do utilize APEX curriculum as our core content of instruction. We will be moving to Edgenuity this school year. So we'll be finishing out APEX at the end of this month with our second summer session, and then we will move into Edgenuity. We want to utilize data to drive academic interventions. 2 of the programs that we most utilize is IXL and Reading Plus. So for IXL, what they're struggling in Apex or on STAR, we'll put them in that area. So this school year, students have answered 21,000, almost 22,000 questions. They've mastered 344 skills. They've been proficient in 573 skills. They spent 141 hours on this for instruction. And we don't put every student on there, so that's probably only looking at, for the school year, probably 20 students have spent that amount of time on this program. Reading Plus is another reading intervention tool that we utilize. Can't get signed in. So looking at our progress for the year, we've had quite a few students read 60 or more C readers, which are short stories where they are read a short passage. It guides their reading, it guides their eyes, makes them more proficient with reading capacity. And we've had several students who have read 60 or above. We want them to read anywhere from 40 to 100 C readers, depending on how long that they're here with us. So looking at the reading level gains for the year, the ones who read 60 or more gained 2.6 grade levels in reading instruction. The ones who read 80 or more gained 3.6 grade levels in instruction. And the ones, our superstars, our 4 students who read 100 or more for the year gained 5.1 levels of instruction. And then we also utilize Lightspeed. We utilize Lightspeed as our monitoring program. And one of the things that my instructional assistant does in the classroom is he monitors behavior and he monitors the Lightspeeds and students staying engaged on the right websites and where they're supposed to be. So he was able to utilize that from distant learning standpoint, and he monitors that from home. So he's able to go on Lightspeed and make sure that the students are on the right website. And if they're not, then we have the ability to record. We have the ability to take them off of websites. And in a couple of incidences, we've seen some activity at the home while looking through their Lightspeed that was concerning, and we were able to send our SRO to the home to check. So I can check on this student. and tell you that he's at the beginning of Reading Plus. So some pictures from those classrooms. So at the top, we have one of the classes, and they're reading an instruction activity together as a class. The bottom one, they had just finished a brain pop quiz, and we're looking at a science experiment. As I stop there for achievement, do we have any questions at this time?
Anthony, it looks like there's a question from Christina Weeder there in the chat with KDE, and then I reposted a question from Heather from a little further up the chain.
Could you read those to me? I can't see any of the
Oh,
questions.
sure. Christina said, did you say that those were grade level increased? For example, 5.1 grade levels?
Yes, those are grade level. The program really works if you have the students on it and you really make sure that they're doing it appropriately. So we've had some great changes in reading ability through that program. But
Great,
they have to stay consistent. They have to do it on a in our regular school environment. That's the first thing they do each morning for 4 days out of the week. And for our summer school environment, they do it every day, and they're expected to do 2 C readers per day, per hour, each day.
And then Heather had asked, what were the penalties, if any, that you put forth for those that did not participate correctly when you're talking about?
That was levels to that. So we wanted to partner with the parents as much as possible. So I figured if my office manager and myself kept calling the parent every time that you didn't show up for class, the parent would get tired of that and make sure that you were in class. The other situation is we are still monitoring a what we call a point sheet. So those are still monitored and are reflected in their court reports. So I have court this afternoon. I have 2 outstanding court reports, and I have 1 that's bad. So he will be under the penalty of the judge for contempt for not doing well during this time frame. Other more than penalties, other rewards is that at the end of each session, those who perform really well received Papa John's large pizza. We have a Papa John's connection who is a supporter of the program, so we get free pizza from Papa John's. So myself and the teacher, one of the teachers picked up the pizza. We drove it to their houses. Some of them live way out in town, so they don't actually get pizza delivered. The pizza can't be delivered to them. So that was a real treat for them, and that was something that we pushed for them to make sure that they were achieving. Other consequences is the communication and collaboration with our social workers. We have a lot that's in foster care and a lot of case managers. So if I wasn't getting anywhere with the parent or the student, then my next stop is the social worker or the case manager for the foster care system. And then we would have, we had several treatment team meetings with the parent on Zoom, with the case manager, with the student, trying to make sure that we are getting on the same page. So I would talk to the parent, and if the parent was not understanding, or if the student was saying that he or she was doing this or not doing that, then we would meet as a team with the parent and the student and the social worker, and we would show him the error of his or her ways. So it has been effective for during the regular school year. We had one student who was AWOL and non-compliant throughout the NTI weeks. We had another student who I had to talk with his social worker who was non-compliant for over a week, and we now have him being compliant. And that's about it. Then we had some students here or there who needed some pep talks. We also, which I'll get to that in opportunities, we also had some students who, two students who did not do well with technology and wanted paper pencil version, and the grandmother felt like that she could communicate better with the student that way. So we were flexible in giving some of those options.
Thanks, Anthony. I don't see any other questions on that.
All right. We will continue to move on. Our last sections is opportunities. Utilizing student choice. So the teachers, as well as myself, really utilize student choice with several students. We have what we call a group of credit recovery students who are 17, close to 18, and they're behind, and they just want to work on their APEX as much as possible. So we allow them to run through their APEX and get as much done as they can. And their only requirement every day is to show up for group for treatment time. And they have so many APEX lessons that they have to complete each day. Then we have another group of students who have to come to class, have to come to the in-person virtual class every day for 4 hours a day with each teacher working through their instruction. And then I also had two students who, one did not have adequate internet, and they lost internet connection. So he asked, and his family asked for a paper version that I drove to their trailer and gave that to them. And they're expected to turn that in once a week. So you'll get a week's worth of work, and it'll be turned in, or I'll come and pick it up from you once a week. And then we had another young lady that was new to the program, so we didn't have the best relationship with her because she had got here right before we went into NTI, and her grandmother was really having a difficult time with her because she was saying that she was completing the APEX work, but she wasn't. So the grandmother agreed that she wanted to do the CS paperwork. So we did give her that option, and grandmother has brought it to me every week, once a week, brings me all of the work completed. We did have a couple students who were, one was working with his father during the day. So he was given permission to do his assignments at night, and he had a certain time frame that he could call me for any assistance, and a certain time frame that all the work had to be completed. We received CS email information from DJJ, and I will show you for some of you all who may not be familiar with it. CS did a COVID-19 daily lessons instruction. It's vetted with highly qualified teachers who designed it. So they have a week 1 through week 8, 5 days a week. It covers all core content areas. It has science lessons, social studies lessons, English, health and PE lessons. It also has social emotional lessons embedded in the program as well. So we found that to be a good backup tool that was used when necessary. And then one of the things we were doing was utilizing our social awareness group, which meets typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays to bring in community speakers through the Google Hangout and to address life choices and social issues. One thing that we turned kind of a negative situation of not being in school into a positive is that we were able to increase our community speakers, mentors from not just being local, but all over the nation. So we had a COVID-19 speaker she had went through COVID. She lives in Louisville. She went to school Western with me. She is a case manager who works with at-risk youth in Louisville. So she was able to give direct knowledge, direct hand experience of how she had to deal with COVID and how she's still dealing with it to this day. Her body hasn't completely recovered. Dealing with social injustices, we were able to bring the chief of the Warren County Sheriff, Sheriff, into a group discussion with our students, talking about police relations, as well as the Western Kentucky University Chief of Police. So they both came and talked with our students about social issues and injustice and things of that nature. We had a speaker from Washington, D.C. talk about perseverance. He grew up and had a very difficult upbringing as a youth, and now he works for cybersecurity in D.C. So he's led a interesting life. So it was good for them to see someone who had some of the similar struggles as them and how he persevered. And then we were able to have arts instruction as well with one of our local artists. And usually she comes to the program and she'll bring a couple of pieces, but by our Google Hangout, she was able to walk through the studio and show and talk about different types of formats of art and what different things are called. And she is a national artist who's sold and been in magazines and books. And her daughter happened to be in town, who had just graduated from the prestigious Chicago Institute of Arts. So she was able to talk to them about school and different types of art and different genres. So that was good as well. And then as we have continued, we would have a pre-employment transition class through Life Skills that would meet every Friday with the students in the building. They have been in contact with me, and we have now started having them do their Friday sessions via Google Hangout. So just like they would be doing in the classroom on Fridays, they are doing it through Google on Fridays as well. These are some pictures of it. This is Miss Waddell, who's the artist, and also our speaker from Washington, D.C. And what was cool about one of his speeches was that you could see the Washington Monument in the background. So he was standing right near the Washington Monument. They could actually see that. So it was kind of like a virtual field trip as well as a speaker. Miss Jones from Louisville, she's the one who has dealt with COVID. In the far corner, we have Mr. Brent Hightower, which is our Warren County Sheriff, as well as the Chief of Police for Western was on the call as well. We have Miss Penny Reese, who is one of the coordinators for the pre-employment transitions class. So she was teaching a class on resiliency. Do we have any questions about the opportunities?
I'm not seeing any questions. Lots of good feedback, though.
Well, thank you all for that. And it's just important that we think outside of the box and we utilize all different areas. One of the mentor speakers was, like I said, a friend of mine from college. One of the speakers from DC was connected with our office manager. We've had a principal from Lexington who does a Boys to Men program in Lexington. He was connected with another staff member through their fraternity. So And then locally, we participate in a lot of boards, local boards, social boards, just so we can bring in more support for the program, and we're able to talk about the other the program in a positive light and talk about the changes that the students make to get people more invested in the program. And then we also have Western Kentucky University, which they often bring us mentors through the sports department, as well as interns through the psychology, sociology, and social work departments. Next is our district support. I am fortunate to have so much district support. It's phenomenal working with Warren County Public Schools. I've talked to other administrators who don't have that similar support. It is something that had to be nurtured. I'm not going to say that we had support when I first started, because we didn't. We had superintendents who never stepped foot in our facilities. Now we're able to be under the alternative umbrella. We have 5 programs in our building. We have a Jackson Academy school-based alternative program. We have, which is a program of distinction. We have ASP, which is alternative to suspension program. So instead of sitting at home, they can come over to this program and still complete their lessons outside of their regular school environment. We have Lighthouse Academy, which is one of our flagships of alternative choices for those who are juniors and seniors. It is non-punitive, no consequences, and it is a program that you have to apply for. We have Beacon Academy, which is a virtual kind of homeschool type program for those who have different needs in the home. Could be medical, could be social emotional, could be social anxiety, school anxiety, those type of things. So we have a Warren County Public School Technology Learning Hub. Our technology department has been fierce when they've been assisting us getting more prepared for distance learning, having several sessions almost daily, learning how to do different types of programs, and they were able to help our staff as well. So this is the learning hub that they have. So if I want to know more about instruction for Google Classroom, I can go there for Google Meet with the video conferencing, screen recording with the Screencastify. That's how I make my video, and that was them showing me how to do that. Jamboards, giving student choices on activities that they can pick and choose to get the same core content information. Assessment tools, Google Form, how to use that, how to build that. Padlock and other various programs. So they built in video trainings, developments for you to learn more about that. And then they're always a phone call away or email away to help walk you through if you still are struggling with those things. We also had a reopening committee comprised of about 30 staff, as well as teachers and different administrators. And they created a document to help all the schools walk through what we need to do when it comes to reopening. It is a very intensive document. And it is 30-something pages long, but talking about everything from bus transportation to food service to classroom to virtual academies to in-person instruction, and really having our staff prepared to at a moment's notice flip from your in-person classroom to distance learning, making sure that what you're doing in the classroom will match what they will be doing if they were at home. Again, as I get ready to wrap up, Ms. Katie, are there any other questions?
I don't think so. Just folks are asking if they'll have access to the presentation, which we will send out later on. Lots of good feedback. I know you're not able to see the chat, but everyone's really appreciating the resources and sharing their own. So good conversation.
Did they hear the video at all, or?
No, I don't think. No, we couldn't hear the video at all. You unmuted yourself, but we couldn't hear any of the video.
Okay, that's. I'm used to Google Hangout, so.
Right, yeah. Oh, I understand.
All right, but this is my information, my email address. We do a lot of our community engagement through our Facebook page. One of my staff members and myself keep that updated weekly. So he posts a lot of the new COVID information, as well as what we're doing in the classroom. And I love our background cover if it ever comes up. It's what people think it looks like when talking about success and what it really looks like. So we want to keep that in mind with everyone who deals with students that we deal with, is that every day is not going to be rosy. They're not going to just automatically take off and do everything we ask them to do. They're going to have setbacks. They're going to have times that they step back, times that they move forward, times that they get it and take off. So that's important for us to remember that. Our school Twitter page. I will be the first to say that I am just getting used to Twitter. It is a great tool, so we're starting to use that more. As you see that I was feeling inspired listening to the Kentucky Alternative Education Summit keynote speaker, Mr. Mark Anthony Garrett, this morning. #KickSack.
Love it.
Keeping that going is fresh. Our Warren County Public Schools website, which I'm in the process of updating. I usually update it right before school starts every year. So it's a little behind, but the information is very good on here. So I'll update our graduate pictures in the next couple of weeks and update our graduation video. I'm going to leave you quickly with showing a piece of the video as we get ready to exit. Again, sound probably won't be there. Again, I thank you for your time. I will be sending the PowerPoint to Ms. Katie this afternoon. And I appreciate all of you all and what we are doing for our students all across the state of Kentucky. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. That was great. Everybody really appreciated the resources. Anthony's and his program and the district have been doing great things, and I know you all have. So the more we can share with each other, the better. We're going to break now for lunch, so you can go eat lunch, and I mean take a nap. And we were going to join back together at 12:30 for the next series of concurrent sessions. Those links are in your program that I sent out, and they're also posted on our website. So we hope to see you in one of those 3 sessions at 12:30, and then we'll continue the day from there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.